In this video, I'll tell you about the file input output operations and how they are done in PHP language.
Okay, so with the help of this example, I'll now show you how to perform the read write operations on a file object. Actually, I'm going to show you two different PHP scripts, one for writing the data into a file and another for reading it from the file. So first, the write operation. I have to use the function called as fopen, which is a inbuilt or predefined function in PHP. It takes two arguments, the name of the file to be opened and the mode. Here in this case, I am using the W mode because I want to create a new file. The name of the file is new file.txt. If at all this file opening operation is not successful, I want to quit the program by giving the message error in opening a new file because of any reason. Okay, then the fwrite is a function which writes the data into the file. This file is a variable which refers to the file pointer of the open file. So fwrite function takes two arguments, the pointer to the file that is opened and the data to be written into. I am initializing this str variable with this string. Incidentally, if you remember, this is a here doc syntax of creating a multi-line string. So fwrite function will write this string into the file, the name of the file being new file.txt. After completion of the writing operation, I would close the file and display a message, file created successfully. So if I execute this file and go back to my document root folder of the server, then I should see a new file.txt created there. Okay, so let us try running and look for that new file.txt if it is created or not. So I am giving this URL file write.php. I should get a message file created successfully. So let us go into the document root folder and whether that file is created and whether it contains the data that we had written in our script. This is the PHP script for reading back the data in the new file.txt. So fopen function is again used to open the file in the read mode. R is for read mode. Again, this error checking mechanism I am using. If the file is unable to be opened, display an error message and exit it. If it is successfully opened, then what I want to do, read one line at a time and display it. So fgetS is another file function which reads one string at a time from the pointer which is pointing towards this file that is opened. So it will get one string from the file and display. Likewise, I want to keep on doing this till I reach the end of file. So feof is a function which detects the end of file. So while not fof file, that means what? Till the time there is data or there are lines in the file, keep on reading and displaying. As soon as the end of file is encountered, this loop will terminate, file will be closed. So if we run this, we should get back the data that was written. This is first line, second line, third line, etc. Read back from it and displayed on the browser. So let us try this also. So I am entering the URL as file read.php and if I enter it, this was the data in it. This is the first line, second line, third line. So this is how you read back the contents of the file using the fopen in R mode. Fopen in W mode will write, fopen in R mode will read back. Okay, so this is the example of reading writing operation in PHP.
In this video, we shall see how error handling activities are performed in a PHP application.
So this program is a demonstration of the die function in PHP. Die function, whenever it is encountered, the program will be terminated at that point only. The rest of the program will not be executed. And the die function optionally takes a string argument, which is the message to be displayed and conveyed to the user the reason of the program being terminated. So for example, here die, in the bracket in front of die I am writing file not found. So if the die function will be executed, it will display the file not found message and then it will terminate. In this program I am using a function called as file exists. This is a library or built-in function in PHP which tests whether this file name test.txt is present in the current path or not. If it is not present, that means not file exists will be true. If it is true, then the die function will be executed. It will display file not found message and the rest of the program will not be executed. If on the other hand, if this file is present, then this not file exists will not be true, so the else part will be executed. The given file will be opened using the fopen function. Message displayed will be opened file successfully. If at all there are any more statements, those will be executed in the sequence. So that's how the die function will be used, depending on whether the given file is present or not. The file will be either opened successfully or the die function will execute and the termination of the program will take place. So let us run this script and test for ourselves. This program is saved in the document root of the server. If at all there is a test.txt file in that folder, it will be opened. Otherwise, file not found message will be displayed by the die function. Okay, so let us see. So I am now entering this die.php URL. The file is not found, obviously, because the test.txt is not present in that htdocs folder. Okay, so let me now change, do the certain changes in the program and give the file name which is some file name which is already present. So if I give that file name, then instead of file not found, I should get a file opened message. Okay, so let me go to that script, change the test.txt to something which is present. Okay, so I have changed it to new file.txt. The file is already present in the document root. So after doing these changes, let us go back to the browser and execute this and see that the message. So I'll just refresh this page and the message will be opened file successfully. That is because the new file.txt is indeed present in the given folder. So that is how the die function can be effectively used to handle the errors.
Instead of the unilateral die function, you can also define a custom error handler.
So let us now see how a custom error handler function can be used in a PHP script. To set a particular user defined function as an error handler, you have to use a function called as set error handler. This is the name of the function, handle error, which will be eventually handling the error if at all it is created or it creeps up into the program. So this error handler function has been defined to accept two arguments. One is the ERR NO, error number, and error string. Right. So if at all in the rest of the program any error occurs, then this handle error function will be executed, and it will receive two arguments, the error number and the description of the error called as error string. So if whenever this function is executed, it will print this error number followed by the variable value of the variable error ARRNO and ARR string. Additionally, it will execute or rather echo the message terminating the PHP script, and the program execution we anyway want the program to be terminated there, so you use the die. Okay, so this is the handler function defined, this one, and it has been set or designated to handle the error situation. Now in the rest of the code, what I am trying to do is I am trying to open. fopen is the function which opens a file in the read mode. If it is successful, then the success message will be displayed. If it is not there at all, then obviously PHP is going to throw an error, and we have already said that a particular function is going to handle the errors. So the control of the program will be directly handed over to this function. It will print the error message and stop. And at the top of the script, we have used a function called as error reporting. That error reporting function will decide what type of errors will be reported. So we have seen that there are different error levels. There are warning, there is error, there is notice, etc. So error means all those errors which are of the type error, those will be reported. Whenever that type of error will be generated, the handle error function will be executed, and that will print the error message. So let us run this script. Not present, the name itself suggests that the file is not physically the file is not present. So you expect the error message to be printed, error number, error string, and terminating the script, etc. Okay, so let us see. So custom error.php is the name of the script. I am giving it in the URL. So that is the output of the handler function. Error number. What is the error message? No such file or directory. Terminating PHP script is what we have hard coded as the echo message. Okay, so this is how the custom error handler can be used.
In this video, we shall see the exception handling as implemented in a PHP application.
Now this PHP script is used to demonstrate the functioning or mechanism of the well-known try, throw and catch mechanism, which is very popularly used in many of the computer programming languages to process the exceptions. And this program is also demonstrating a very commonly you commonly come across this type of exception, which is called as a division by zero exception, and it occurs whenever you try to divide a number by 0. So even though mathematically speaking a number divided by 0 is infinity, it is not possible to express or represent an infinity in a computer with a finite memory. So let us create such a situation where this division by 0 error will exception will occur or generate, and how to process that. So I am going to run this program in the console mode, because I want the user to enter the two numbers. Even if at all the denominator is 0, then it will throw an exception. That exception will be directed towards the catch block. It will display the error message. What is the error message? Division by 0 is the error message. this statement will accept a number from the standard input, another number also from the standard input by using the fscanf function. Now this statement is the one which is likely to have an exception. So before the program bumps into this statement, I want to throw an exception if y is equal to 0. So if what I am saying, if y equal to 0, throw. That means the control of the program will be diverted from the regular sequence. Instead of letting the program to go to this, I want the program to be diverted, or the control to be taken out from here to here. So this exception, the object of this exception will be processed by this catch block. Exception E is the exception object, and the associated error message is called as the get message. So the get message here we are passing on is division by 0. So you expect the division by 0 message to be printed. So it's a very simple example. Let me open the command window now and run the program from there. So the command window is in front of you, and I am executing this script exept1 I should write .php. If I execute this, it will ask the number to be inputted. I input something, and if I input some other number which is not 0, it will give me the result. But if I again run it, I give a number and second number happens to be 0. So it will print the division by 0 message which is coming out of the catch block. That's how the try catch throw mechanism is employed in PHP.
After seeing the example of try, catch and throw, there is one more way of processing the exceptions, and that is defining a custom exception handler. Remember that we also use a custom error handler. Now we're going to designate a user defined function to handle the exceptions that may be caused inside the program.
So this example is a demonstration of a custom exception handler in PHP. So you have a function called as set exception handler, which using which you can assign a user defined function to handle the exceptions that may be arising in a PHP script. So the function here, I have defined a function called as exception handler, which receives one particular argument. If this function is executed, the message that will be displayed is uncaught exception and the error message that is associated with the exception object, right? And this function I want to assign as my customized or custom exception handler. So whenever in the rest of the program any exception occurs, instead of the regular catch block which is normally used to handle or process the exception, instead of that, this exception handler function is going to be executed, doing all the activity of handling the exception, right? So this is the mechanism that should be in place. Rest of the program is very simple. Two values are to be input stored in x and y. If y happens to be equal to 0, the program throws a exception, a new exception, that means an object of the exception class. This is the argument division by 0 that will be given on to this, the get message. So as soon as the exception is generated, this set exception handler will be activated. The control will be transferred to this function, and the message will be printed as uncaught exception division by 0. Otherwise, if no exception, then the regular normal operation of printing the result of the division will be taking place. So let's go back to the command window and execute this function. So the command window is in front of you. From the command line, I am executing this custom execp.php like this. First number, some number, second number, the regular operation of division will take place. But if I give some number but I give the denominator as 0, then the exception object will be thrown, that will be processed by this exception handler, custom exception handler that we have designated. Will print this error message, this exception message. So that is how the custom exception handler can be assigned or can be put into service by the set exception handler function.
In this video, we shall see the get and post methods as the value of the method is equal to attribute in our form. What difference does it make?
The method is get. So the data sent to the server side PHP script is sent using the get method. So as a result, what happens? The entire form data is the key and value pairs of the form element and its value. They are concatenated together and they are attached to the PHP script that you are going to call. Here, which PHP script is being called? Get method. So the form data will be sent to the server as get method.php, and in continuation with the name of that, all the key value pairs like name is equal to whatever name you will enter, age is equal to whatever age you will enter, will be attached to the URL, and that URL will be processed by the server. PHP side script will be processed like that. The URL will contain the name of the script, and appended to it is the query string which contains the key and value of each form element that you will enter when you press the submit button. So when you press the submit button, that query string will be received by the PHP script. That will happen second time, because when the get method.php, this is the name of the PHP script that will be opened by the browser. First time this get variable will get $_get submit. First time the submit button is not going to be pressed, so therefore this will not be executed. But when it will be pressed, submit button will be pressed, the same script will be processed by the PHP server. Now the submit button is pressed, so therefore this if statement will be processed, and from the get associative array, the values associated with the get name and get age will be echoed back to the browser. So more or less the same thing that happened with the post method. Only difference is that when the get method is used, the form data is appended to the PHP script that is mentioned in the action equal to attribute. Okay, so we will see that particular URL is how it is created. We will run this example and I will show you the exact query string that is displayed in the address bar of the browser. Okay, so I open this get method.php in my browser. The form is appearing with two text elements, name and age. I now enter some data and press submit button. Now as soon as I press submit button, the query string will be formed. Name is equal to Anil, age is equal to 33, and that will be appended to this get method.php, because it is the post, it is going to be redirected towards the same PHP script, because it is action is equal to has been set to the PHP self, right? So if I press submit button, there you see the query string is name is equal to an Anil and age is equal to 33 or 33, and submit is equal to submit query, that was the name of the button. So this is the entire query string that is attached, from which the value associated with get name and get age is fetched by the PHP script from the associative array. So this is the behavior of get method.
After the get method, we will now see how the post method works.
So let us see the use of different HTTP methods. This example is using the post method. In fact, this is the HTML form, okay, in which there are two text elements. Input type is equal to text. The first text element is to enter the name of the text element itself is name, and the second text element name to identify that text element is age, okay, and then there is a input type is equal to submit, it is a submit button, so that when the user enters the data and presses the submit button, the data is sent to the server side script, and that server side script is this one. I am using the special variable called as PHP self, which means that the data is posted back to the same script in which the form is there, okay. So when this form is opened in the browser for the first time, the submit button is not pressed, so therefore this condition is not true, and therefore this PHP script will not be executed and the form will be displayed. But when the data is entered and submit button is pressed, that means what? The associative array server side variable called as $post, in which the submit variable is entered, or submit variable is set. So therefore this is true. Then what will happen? From the $post array, this is the called as super global, which stores the form data in the form of an associative array, where the name of the element is the key and the value entered to that element is the value. So in order to fetch the values associated with the keys, I'll say $post name, which will give me whatever value that was entered inside the text box named as name, and similarly age. So this will be executed when the user clicks the submit button. So that is how the form data is accessed by the PHP script, which is the value of the action attribute of the form. The method is post. Okay, so this is the use of post method. Now I'll run this example and see that the form data that is entered is fetched by the PHP script. Okay. So on the address bar of the browser, after the of course the web server is running now, I enter localhost post method.php. I get a form. I enter some data into this, and some age. If I press submit button, then what is going to happen? The action attribute is redirected towards the same post method.php because of the PHP self variable. This data will be sent as the data in the post $post associative array, and from which the key and value, using the key, the values are fetched and they are echoed back to the browser. So this is the output. So this is how the form data is sent to the PHP script by using the post method.
The use of post and get method we have seen. There is another way of using or processing the form data on the server side, that is by using the $_request variable. That is another super global that is maintained by the server.
Another way of processing the form data on the server side script is using the request associative array. As you know, the request server variable or request associative array can be used to get the form data or obtain the form data that is sent by the get method as well as the post method. So it really doesn't matter whether method is equal to get or method is equal to post is used. Of course, it will have an effect on the query string that will be generated. But then, as far as the fetching of the data from the form is concerned, all you have to do is use the associative array called as request. So request name will give me whatever the user has entered in the first text element, and request age will give me whatever the user has entered in the age text element. After the submit button is pressed, first when this request method.php is displayed by the browser on the first time, obviously because the button has not been yet pressed, so this condition will fail. This will not be echoed. Instead, the form will be displayed. After entering the data, if you press submit button, because the data is going to be posted to the same page again, because I am using PHP self as the action attribute of the form. Second time around, this condition will be true, and therefore these two lines will be echoed. Welcome, the value of the name element in the form and age element in the form will be displayed, and this will not be displayed second time because it is exiting from the if condition. Okay, so more or less the same thing that happened in the post or get method. The same thing, same data can be fetched using the request variable also, that we shall see now. So for first time I am running this example with the method is equal to get. Okay, so the request method.php is opened in the browser, localhost request method.php. The same form is created. I will now enter some data and submit. Remember that the method is used as get, so therefore the query string will be a concatenation of the key value pairs, right? Now I will change the method to post and reopen the form. You see that the query string doesn't appear in the URL. So I have changed the method is equal to post now, and the same form is opened. And now if I press the submit button, because the data is posted, sent by the post method, the query string will not appear here, but the query string, the data of the query string can be fetched from the request server variable as before, where you see the data can be fetched. So these are the three different ways in which the form data can be processed by the server side PHP script using post method, get method or request variable, right?
In this video, let us have a look at another new PHP 7 feature called CSPRNG. What is this CSPRNG? Stands for cryptographically secure pseudo random number generator.
So this program uses two new functions that are introduced by PHP 7, and the purpose of these two functions is to generate random numbers which are secure for cryptography. So cryptographically secure pseudo random number generators. These are the two functions. One is random bytes and another is random int. So the random bytes function generates a sequence of bytes randomly up to 5 number of bytes. Okay, and that string of 5 bytes is stored in this variable. If I print it, those bytes will be displayed, but not all of those bytes may have a printable representation. So what you have to do is to convert the sequence of bytes by the binary to hex function, so that a certain legible representation of all those bytes will be displayed. And the second function is random int. This is the minimum value and maximum value in between which a random integer number will be generated, and its value will be stored in this variable that you can print it out. So these are the two functions for generating pseudo random numbers, which are secure as far as the cryptography is concerned. So let us run this, and randomization also we'll run it couple of times, so that you will see the random changes that appear in the output. So this is csprng.php. This is the sequence of bytes, and this is its hexadecimal representation, and this is of course the number from between 0 to 999. If I rerun it again, the random sequence of bytes and numbers is visible. Okay, so that is how these two functions can be used, right?